Good morning. It is 4:37. I just turned 4:38 now as I'm starting this video in the morning, and I wanted to give you a behind the scenes of how we get ready for UP With KREM. So, we gotta get makeup on. That's an important step, unfortunately. I have been here since 3:30 this morning, which is typical. If I'm being honest, it was more like 3:40 because getting out of bed this early is difficult, but that's okay. And we start by coming in and going through the show. So I have, for the past hour, been reading scripts and making sure I know what the show looks like with our producers. And then after about an hour of doing that, I start this process. I always start with putting this on my face so it has a second to dry off, and then we put it to the studio. Thomas, I'm turning on lights now for real. Slider. And now it's lights. Nice and bright.
Hi everyone. How are we doing? How are you doing, Nicole? Listen, before 5 a.m. is still early even for us.
It's tough. It's always tough. But we've got energy today. I slept a lot last night, so we're good. This is where all of our mics sit. So we have to get our mics set up for ourselves. Okay, so we'll put this here for a second. Cool. I'm mic 2, so I just grab our mics and put batteries in. Batteries. That's the IFB box, so that's what producers talk to us with. And then this is the actual mic box. So we wear 2 boxes every morning. One lets you hear us, one lets us hear producers so that they can tell us timing and if we're changing anything in the show, anything like that. So just string the mic up, our shirts. Today I'm wearing pants, which is way easier because most days I wear dresses and I have to string the mic cord and IFB cord up through the dress. That's incredibly difficult, but I wear shorts every morning to make it easier for the mic to get hooked on and everything. Okay, mics are on. We have a prompter one. This is what runs our teleprompter, so I always bring this over the desk at this point because right now we're just in a rush to show. Our show starts right at 5 a.m. on the dot. It's now 4:42 and it's always a rush because we never have enough time to get everything we need to get done. I always come over here and check the thermostat because it's always freezing cold in here, and so I like to set it between 71 and 72.
That's a people wearing your phone.
It's an official part of my responsibilities, yes. Because the boys in the evening, Mark and Jeremy, always make it really cold in the studio, and so I come in and I'm cold and I turn it up a little bit. Anyways, okay. That's good. Now we start the makeup process. Here we go. So I was like never someone who was into doing makeup as a teenager. I just wasn't one of the girls that was doing that and into the makeup. And so when I started this job, not this job, but I started a career in TV news, I had to figure out how to do makeup, and it has been a years-long process of learning how to do it at all. And now I'm pretty fast at it. I can get it done in 15 minutes max, which is crazy, but we just go really, really fast. And it happens every morning. Kind of the life of morning news. If you ask any morning news anchor, reporter, whatever it may be, meteorologist that has to put on makeup, this is what it looks like, really fast and rushed every morning. You might be able to tell my hair is like crunchy right now. That's like first step in getting the hair done, and so I'll make it look how it's supposed to look at the very end once I have my sweater off. Like I mentioned, it's really cold. We get up early in the morning. Even on like a warm summer day, it's still in the 60s or 50s overnight, so I always wear a sweater to work. So in a few minutes, I will go out to our newsroom and I'll introduce you to some of the people out there. In the mornings, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 or so people that work to put the show on, which is not as many as we see in other day parts, but you know, we try not to make a ton of people wake up as early as we all do. But there's a couple of producers, so they're the people that put the show together. And then there's a couple photographers and editors who make the video happen. We have an executive producer who goes through and approves everything, makes sure everything is spelled right, make sure the show looks good. And then Tim and I obviously come in around 3:30 to go through the show. It's really an important part of our job to read through scripts. And so when I get back out to the studio, I'll show you that on my laptop I have our system pulled up, the system that holds and runs the show basically. And so it's, would be difficult to start talking at 5 a.m. if we had never seen what we were going to say. And so often the things that we're reading and telling you about are things that our producers have written for us as they come in at like midnight. And then we will go through and read and write in a way that we would say it. Everyone says things slightly differently. Everyone has different cadences. And so the same story Tim and I would write slightly differently, just because we're different people and we like to tell stories in different ways. So that's the first hour to hour and a half of our days, is going through and personalizing each script based on how the producer wrote it. And the other huge question that I often get out in the field is, oh, you must have someone to do your makeup for you. And everyone's always shocked that we do it ourselves. But here we are. Every morning we just make it happen. It's definitely not something I would do every day if I didn't have this job, but I've learned to do it. I would say somewhat decently, hopefully. This is our green room. That's what it's called. So we've got the really bright lights that mimic the studio lights. And so it's super helpful that way. We know exactly what our face will look like on camera as we're doing our makeup. This is my least favorite part. I have to put eyeliner on. It never looks quite how I want it, and it never looks the same every morning. I don't know how people do that consistently. It's impossible. So my favorite thing about doing my makeup is hearing the producers out there. We have a couple of producers that moved here somewhat recently to Spokane, and they're fresh out of college. They just finished up their college careers, and these are their first jobs. And so it's really fun to hear them giggling out there as they put the show on. They've become really good friends, and it's just a really fun vibe in the mornings. It's not an easy shift to work, obviously. I have it better than they do. A couple of the producers have to come in around midnight. And so we used to form a really cool bond on this shift, I would say. Everyone's always a little bit more tired. Everyone, has trouble waking up for the shift. But once we get here, we all know that we're in it together, and we all have the same goal of making the show the best it can be every single day. So it's really fun. Everyone loves the shift. Even people who don't love waking up early learn to love the people that we work with and the things we get to do every day, because it is a very special show that we get to be on. And that's almost all of the makeup. Last thing I have to do is put on some lipstick. And then in a second, I'll grab, time check. 4:52. So we are, almost 4:53. We're 7 minutes from the show now. And Tim and I joke every morning these 20 minutes before show are the fastest 20 minutes of your life. They always go by so much faster than you want them to because there's just so much to do before the show gets started. But you learn to love the rush. A little bit of lip gloss. Cool. Alrighty. So now I put those boxes on earlier, right? That was the mic and the IFB. The last thing is throwing on the IFB cord. This is what we put in our ears that connects to the box that actually allows us to hear what our producers are saying. So it just hooks to the back of our shirts or dresses. We put it in our ears, and then this here connects to the box that we put on earlier. Turn it on. And so right now what I can hear is what's on this TV. It's just programming that's playing. And then as we get going, they'll turn off programming and they'll start doing mic checks, make sure all of our mics are on and working, which mine is on, so they should be able to hear me.
Good.
Okay. We just gotta do the hair real quick. See, there's the mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Adriana, do you have anything to say to the people? She said, hi, good morning. We're gonna go back and talk to her in just a second because it's kind of cool to see what they do back there. For every show, there's 2 producers in what we call the booth. The booth is the control room. It's where everything happens on the back end. There's 2 producers there for every show, and they kind of switch out through the morning. And one of them is in charge of talking to us and making sure we know what's going on, and the other is in charge of pressing the button to make the show happen. So every time the video changes or the sound changes or the shot changes, their job is to press the button to make that happen. All right, I know you can hear me coming. Okay, so in the same way that I can hear producers, she can hear literally everything I say.
Yes,
Like nonstop.
nonstop.
So what are you doing for, we have like a minute, but what are you doing for the show right now for the 5 a.m.?
I am punching through the show, so that means hitting next on the little stream deck, and just making sure everything goes good. And if something doesn't go good, I then just hot punch in, which basically means just click it right really quick.
So she's in charge of everything. If something goes wrong, you can flip. No, I'm kidding. She does amazing. Nothing ever goes wrong. That's why we have such a smooth show. It's because of Adriana, and then, is it Kelsey in here with her this time? Yeah. She'd be sitting right here. She'll be here in a minute. Anyways, I gotta go because they need to set my camera, which means I have to be in place in time for them to do that. Okay, so as you can see, they have the shot pulled up. So I'm gonna move this chair so I actually stand, and then I'll stand in my spot so that they can get the shot set up correctly. This is the system that we build our shows in. And so this is what a show looks like, not on TV. It's a bunch of lines, it's a bunch of boxes that basically show everything that's happening. We'll probably do more in-depth behind the scenes on this specifically, but for now what I have to pull up is my backup prompter. So in case something goes wrong in one of these prompters, I have it here as well. So, you know, this is our very first tease off the top of the show, and that happens in 40 seconds. So I'm going to set you up here. So, and then we will get started in about 30 seconds. So that's one of the things that producers do, is they tell us times, right? So I just heard a 30 seconds because they're letting me know we're 30 seconds away. Here we go. You ready, Thomas?
I said it's gonna be a photo finish.
Every morning.
Right down to the wire here.
Right now on Up With KREM, we're hearing from WSU's head coach following the shooting involving one of his players, and an update on the suspect accused of the shooting.